Debt.
Debt. Oh,
Everyone's favorite word. We're talking about how to pay off debt today, aren't we?
How to pay off debt. Yep.
So this is a really, I think, hot topic today because debt levels in America have, again, kind of spiraled out of control.
Yeah.
There was a period of time right after 2008, I don't know if you remember this, Nick, but right after the housing crisis, people began to deleverage. They were paying off lots and lots of debt. And it was a point in time where there was actually kind of more liquidity because people had paid off so much debt. And then we got to a point where we were all debt hungry again and borrowed, and now we are where we are today. Yeah. So credit card debt above $1 trillion.
Wow.
Mortgage debt, the number one outstanding debt. Second is, you know what?
Second to
mortgages.
To mortgages? After credit cards?
Yep. No, before credit cards.
So it's mortgage,
then something, then credit card.
Well, I know student loans is number one, right?
Number two. So it's
really?
mortgage and then student loans. Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. Because I think there's I want to say it's $22 trillion in mortgages outstanding or something to that effect. Yeah, it's a lot.
Oh, dang.
It's a lot.
Oh, I did not know that. For some reason, I thought there was some stat around student loan debt being oh, you know what? It was probably more than credit card and something else combined, but not
yes,
much. Okay,
yes.
Wow.
Yeah, car loans and credit cards are kind of both under student loans. So
$22 trillion for mortgages.
Anyway, let's talk about this. I'm going to look up the mortgage number. You go.
Okay. So what we want to talk about really is there's really three reasons as to why people have debt. The first one is that, from a very basic standpoint, people are spending more than they are earning. And so there's, when people are spending more than they're earning, people are putting on credit cards, and so hence the credit card debt.
Yes.
Right? The second reason why people have debt or run into debt is because there's some type of emergency, whether it's a medical emergency, car emergency, or some type of calamity, and that will also have people be in debt. And then there's a third one, which I personally find interesting because it's much more on the behavioral standpoint.
Yes.
Do you know what that is?
Yes. It's the inability to delay gratification.
Yep.
It's that idea that I want it now, I'm going to get it now. You know what's, in my opinion, has created a lot of this?
Let me guess. No, go ahead. I don't know.
Amazon.
Oh, that's good.
Right? Because you're I'll get that. I'll get that. I'm going to one-click ship.
Yep.
Now, somebody told me that impulse purchases, companies that normally make their money on selling impulse buys, that impulse purchases are down.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of fascinating because this inability to delay gratification, which is suggestive of debt, on a smaller scale is that impulse purchase deal. But the inability to delay gratification could be, I love that couch. We totally need that couch in our house.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have $1,200. It's cool. We'll just get a line of credit from the furniture company, right?
Yeah.
So inability to delay gratification.
Got it.
Yeah.
Inability to delay gratification. So those are the three. There's three main reasons why there is debt. So in terms of how to pay it off, one thing that we had a couple episodes previous to certain strategies and tips. One of the things that we did not talk about really is something called a debt snowball,
right,
and a debt avalanche.
Yes.
So it sounds kind of cold.
It's cold, baby.
But there are two strategies that are very, very common, and we're going to go through those now. So in paying off debt, there's traditional rules of thumb. There's called a debt avalanche and debt snowball. So when you look at the different debts that you have, say you have 3 credit cards, okay? The debt snowball approach is, if you visually think about a snowball rolling down a hill that gets bigger and bigger, the way that we're going to approach the debt is by looking at the smallest debt amount. So if there's a $2,000 credit card, a $3,000 credit card, and then a $4,000 credit card, what we'll do is that we'll tackle the $2,000 credit card, so we eliminate it while paying minimums on the other two. So that way when the $2,000 is eliminated, the money that was used towards that is now going to go to the second smallest, which is now the 3,000.
Yes.
So you're going to gain a lot of momentum. And for a lot of people from the behavioral standpoint, very similar to the student loans, the minute you see a credit card debt or a particular liability disappear, you're that much more empowered and excited to continue paying off the debt. So that's the debt snowball approach.
Yes.
You want to share the debt avalanche approach?
Surely. So debt avalanche takes a little bit different approach where instead of paying the lowest balance debt off, you're actually paying the highest interest rate debt off. So in Nick's example, if we had a $2,000, $3,000, and $4,000 credit card, but the $4,000 credit card was a 19% interest, and the 2 and 3 were at 14.9 and 15.9 respectively, you'd go after that $4,000 balance first, thereby knocking out the majority of the most expensive interest debt that you have. Now, what you'll find when you start doing the calculations on this is the debt avalanche may actually save you a little bit more money in the long run, but from a, again, behavioral standpoint, the snowball method's a much better method in my opinion because you get to see those quick wins of dropping off the 2,000 and then the 3,000 and finally the 4,000. Whereas if you have just a little bit of extra money that you're applying towards that $4,000 debt, it could take you a while to get it paid off, right? Yep. So, but both work, both are equally impressive to see in action. And there's a calculator that you can use to figure out which method is best for you from a financial standpoint. And you can find that at vertex42.com, VERTEX 42.com. And you're going to look for the debt elimination spreadsheet. And once you download that, plug in all your data and it will kick back exactly what you need to know about what to pay off first, second, third, and so forth.
Yeah, and on that, it's a very powerful resource because when it comes to paying off debt, being able to see where you're at as well as where you will be in the coming months, years, etc., is very empowering, and it holds you accountable to how much debt you should be paying off and where you should be at at a particular time.
Yes.
So,
2 last thoughts I have on this, Nick. One is, as you go through this process, the number one thing that you need to do is to decide that you are going to pay off the debt. That is a decision that once people make it and they're committed to that decision, generally speaking, they'll move forward and they'll pay off their debt. If someone says, yeah, I'd kind of like to pay off my debt maybe someday, they absolutely won't do it. It's like someone who says, I want to get out of debt, but they keep running their credit card everywhere they go. It just doesn't work that way. No. The second thing that I want to mention is that anytime you have debt, so in this $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 example, that's $9,000 in credit card debt. If we were to assume that they were all at 20%, okay, 20%, if they were all at 20%, you would be spending $1,800 per year in interest.
Wow.
So that's $150 a month of money that you make that goes out of your house to the likes of Citi and MBNA and Chase and Discover, right? That is money that you should own, but you no longer own because the bank owns that money, okay? So the goal of this should be to own as much of your income as humanly possible. And one of the only ways to do that is to blast away the debt so the interest doesn't go to the bank, but it goes to you instead.
Perfect.
Cool. So we'll talk about how to do these things, but number one, we want you to figure out how much you have over the next 30 days, how much can you pay off in that debt? So figure out how much do you have in debt over the next 30 days, how much can you pay off of that debt? And there's lots of different ways to do that.
Yep.
So how would we do it?
Reducing expenses. You can, pick up that side hustle, garage sailing, whatever the case is. I've got a client recently who said that he really wanted to pay off debt by the end of the year and lean out on his expenses. So what I challenged him to do was look at his variable expenses and reduce that by 10% and use that, newfound money, quote unquote, to pay off the debt. So to put it into perspective, groceries is $300. 10% of that is $30 that will go towards the debt. So when you start adding up, gas, eating out, entertainment, groceries, you could have, a couple $100 and not $100 that could be used towards the debt.
Yep.
So
I love it. And the last word that I'll put on this is that we talked with a lot of people who say, hey, I have $1,000 emergency fund, but I've got this nagging $300 collection or this $300 credit card bill from a car repair. What should I do with it? And my take is always, so long as you know that you could replenish that emergency fund if need be, get rid of the debt. Like some of those smaller amounts, just take care of them, because the energy that's going into making that payment every single month is energy that could be going into making a little bit extra on the weekends, and or just enjoying life, having a bigger life. So take care of it. Let's get that debt paid off.
Let's do it.
Cool. Tomorrow's show,
we are talking about creative ways to pay for college.
not just basic ways.
Not basic, no.
Creative ways.
Being about that life.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
Awesome.
We'll see you tomorrow.